Hey everybody, it's Andy aka Max Ryder. We're back. We're near the village of Weathertop. You can just kind of make it out right there. But today we're going to expand this tree farm a little bit. I started this in a live stream and decided that it would be nice if it was just a little bit bigger. We're also going to add a few other types of trees here. But for now we're just going to expand it. We're going to push back this hill a little bit. We're going to flatten. And I'm going to talk a little bit about the next to last Call of Cthulhu game I ran, which is called Fearjet 1972. It was based on Fearjet that I ran for, good lord, my inventory is full. It was going to be about to get fuller. I ran it for the Appalachian State University Game Club. They did like a game fest. And we started in 1972, obviously. So what happened was, in this case, the first Fearjet was a bunch of just general workers and stuff. They were going to they were heading to Kansas City, Missouri from, good lord. Okay. So we're just going to take the top of this hill off, flatten it, and use the whole thing for the... Oh, that's a problem. Okay, hold on. Got too much of everything. Let's get rid of all this fence for now. And some of this dirt. Alright, that'll do. So, this time it was a bunch of actors, director, producer from some of the blaxploitation films of the 1970s. Now, these are movies that were supposed to be, you know, with black actors and all this, but really they were just trying to make a quick buck and get African Americans to come watch. They were usually really poorly done films, and or they were downright racist, you know, that kind of stuff. They're pretty bad. Anyway, so this little group is going. They get onto the jet after dealing with a few homeless people in the airport, because in 1971, that's something. In 1972, that was something that could happen. And okay, this is pretty much it. Let's go ahead and expand this just a little bit. See, this, we can just go, let's just follow the edge. Yeah, like this. Doing a little terraforming here. They get to the airport. A few of them see strange people who are saying, oh, this is a giant tree. Shoot, I'm not cutting that down. I like giant trees, so I can become a part of the whole deal. Anyway, they end up dealing with that just a little bit. They get on the plane, they get taken off, meet the pilot and co-pilot. Then all of a sudden there's a bright flash of light from outside, and an even brighter flash from inside the cockpit, and when they look, pilot and co-pilot are gone. Dun dun dun! So the panic ensues. The characters had already started drinking fairly heavily. I mean, right at the get-go, right out the gate. This little tree's coming down, so might as well just get rid of this. And, boop, dang it, I can only sleep at night. Look at these trees growing. So this section is going to be straight up spruce. Over here we're going to put the dark oak. I've grabbed a few. I think I have just a few dark oak saplings. We're going to get them started. And maybe a couple other types of trees, possibly not jungle trees. That's the only one I'm going to just not even deal with in this little area. We're going to move this thing here at some point as well. But first we need to clear this stuff out. Do a little terraforming, and let me finish my story. So they're panicking. One girl picks up the animal crackers because her character's already drunk, and they start moving inside there, trying to crawl into her mouth, and she flips out and just destroys all the animal crackers in the whole thing. Another guy is trying to get on the radio, and he hears a little girl singing Itsy Bitsy Spider. There's a then there's a scream, and he just gives up. He starts getting paranoid of the exterior because he's seen that outside is just nothing but stars up above and below the plane. This is not right. It's not right. Let's get rid of this tree. So in the long run, they're freaking out. Then they hear knocking at the outside door. Okay, this is like the big moment of the game where this game could go two different directions. Either they end up in a weird place if they answer it, or they end up in a weirder place if they don't. In this case, they struggled to answer the door. Some of them wanted to see who was out there, but the guy's like, "There's nothing but stars out there. It's space. We're gonna die if we open the door." Not quite correct, but you know, he had the right idea. I think I'm gonna have to get rid of this. It's too close. It's just too close. We're gonna have to chop it down. So they don't answer the door. Eventually, the knocking stops. The guys are like, "Oh, thank goodness." The director's the one who was doing that. They fly for a little while longer. They see a couple of other odd things. And then finally, all of a sudden, the jet engines just stop. Just stop dead. And they're like, what? And they look outside, and there's light out there, and they can see that there is a... the exterior, they can see outside they're on a street in like this weird city with these really tall buildings. They have no idea where they are or what is going on. And in the end, they just... I kind of feel like, okay, we're going to push this out as far as we can. We're going to get rid of a couple of these other trees that are going to be right encroaching. I didn't do that for the other one. I think that was a mistake. But we'll see what happens. So they're still freaking out. They don't know where they are. They don't know how they can be in this place, wherever this place is. So we want to do this. We want this to look nice. Several of them decide to go exploring. The director has had a kind of a psychotic break, and he does not want to leave. He's like, no, we need to stay in here. We can't. It's bad. Everything outside's bad. So he's in there. The one character started with the producer started with almost no sanity, and he's flipping out. And then when the when the director, okay, hold on, we gotta get rid of a few more chairs. When the director starts to really like flip out, he attacks him, and the director flees. He just leaves. He's out. He's like, nope, done. And so he takes off on his own into Carcosa. And they run into some strange things in Carcosa, of course. I mean, it is Carcosa after all. They end up finding, I don't even remember. They see a young girl up on a high tower, and they spot her later, and she runs away from them. They have no idea who this could be or why she's here or anything. Let's get rid of the ones on the edges here. We're going to push this back as far as we can. They find a theater that is obviously shouldn't be there, I guess you could say, because when they go inside, it's like a Victorian theater. But then when they go inside, it turns out that there's actually. Do I have any fence left? I put it on here. It's a normal theater. They decide this might be the place we're supposed to be. They were kind of thinking in gamer terms instead of in. Let's get rid of this. It's an ugly tree. It's right in the middle of everything. They were kind of thinking in gamer terms instead of in, like, as people. And that's okay. I mean, and some of them had never played any of these games before, ever, at all. We're going to leave these separated out for the moment. But we're probably going to end up taking down this interior one. I think we'll go ahead and push this back. It's not really possible to get up here easily anyway, so there we go. I want it to look natural as best I can, but at the same time. So they're in the theater when the director finally catches up to them, and so does the producer actually eventually, but he is flipping out, so he's not much help whatsoever. My inventory's still freaking full. Are you kidding me? Alright, we'll deal with it later. I want that apple, though. I hate waste. Let's throw away... Oh, here we go. Just combine these guys. Boop, got me an apple. Yeah. Alright, let's expand this with some more dirt. I don't want this to be a two-parter. This might be a slightly longer episode. So, they're all in the theater. The director, or the producer, is flipping out. His sanity started at 10, so he didn't have much to work with. And the rest of them eventually decide we need to get back. Let's keep looking around, and they do. And they find this is going. They find a temple, and there's a little old man in there, and he's like, "Oh, good, you're here. Like, get on the altar so I can kill you." Like, what are you talking about? He's like, "Oh, you know, that's what you're here for." Blah blah blah. And it turns out he tells them a bunch of businessmen who are also worshippers of Haster essentially set this whole thing up. They would allow, people would take their jet, and it would take them to Carcosa where they'd be sacrificed. So the businessmen didn't really have to. Are you kidding me? Good. So the businessmen didn't have to worry about getting sacrifices. They just had to worry about booking flights for people. And they're like, what? And he was really nice and really polite, but, he's like, but, and this is the way it is, and here you go. Kill yourselves. Time to kill y'all. Let's go. Just get on the table. He warns them if they stay in Carcosa, they will still die eventually, but it'll just take a lot longer. Nobody takes him up on his offer, and they decide to try to get back to the jet, which he says, well, the jet's probably gone by now anyway. So they make a run back for the jet as the Byakhee start to close in on them. They do make it back. Well, one of them doesn't, because one of the things you can do is try to figure out how Carcosa works, but it costs you sanity in order to get a chance of actually escaping. So, like I said, the producer's sanity was already just tanked. So he didn't make it. Yeah, there we go. Nice. So he went crazy, was taken away. Now, one of the guys playing one of the women actually ended up leaving. He was not really interested in the game at all, I think, anyway. So he took off early, so we went ahead and I gave his character over to the guy the director had died. So he got to keep playing. They run back to the jet. A couple more strange things happen to them. And they managed to get back. Several of them had seen the yellow sign, though, and are having nightmares for some time. They eventually recover. Nobody ended up going crazy from seeing the yellow sign altogether. And in the end, the rest of them all survived. Here's the interesting bit. They came to the realization nobody knew the person who had disappeared. He literally was removed from history. His being taken by Carcosa also resulted in his complete and utter elimination from the universe. So that required more sanity checks. But overall, they had a pretty good time. I think they had a good time. We had several people who were new to Call of Cthulhu, which was kind of fun. Where are we time-wise? 12 and a half. Nice. This is mostly done. All right, let me get some of these trees planted, and we'll do a little quick finishing off. And yeah, and then we'll be out of here. Okay, there we have it. I've added hedges around this to kind of protect you. It doesn't do a whole lot of good if you're way up high, but it should help out just a little bit. I'm going to end up getting that's not going to be the only one of those trees here, but we're going to end up getting a few other trees planted out here. And so next time we'll work on a house right in this general area for storage of wood and that kind of stuff. Anyway, thanks for watching, everybody. As always, I appreciate it. I will talk to y'all next time.